Soon. Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back on a Friday with our resident engineer, Mike Herzog. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, I'm glad to be here, man. On Friday, it's a new day, new time, same bat content, same bat channel, new bat time.
I'm not sure what time of year it is. The season
Great. It's
seems to
the
be
great
changing
time.
about every other day here.
Yeah.
We had summer a couple of weeks ago, and then we slipped back into either fall or something. It hasn't frozen again,
They
thankfully.
talked about it. They talked
Yeah.
about it last week. They said maybe there's a chance for a frost, that's wild for around here. But
Yeah. Let's see. We'll start with the breaking news. Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket exploded in a huge fireball during a test in Florida. An uncrewed rocket belonging to Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, a 322-foot tall rocket, ignited on the pad around 9 o'clock last night before erupting into a bright orange ball of fire, engulfing the surrounding area, and it actually shook nearby homes. We were talking about this a minute ago, and it's like, I would think just the rocket
I
launching.
think the people that live around there are pretty used to their homes shaken from
Yeah.
test flights and rocket launches and all of that.
So, yeah, apparently the rocket exploding was not a feature. You just never know, right? You never know.
Yeah, it was self-destruct when SpaceX was
Yeah.
spying on it. It initiated self-destruct.
Yeah. Elon Musk commented, sorry to see this. Hope you recover quickly. It was most unfortunate. Rockets are hard.
Yeah, I mean I mean we're people. We kind of like to see stuff blow up and fail and all of that. But this one, it's just disappointing. I think there's a lot of value to space exploration and what people are doing, and seeing private industry start to take it up. So I know it's a lot of people celebrate when SpaceX has issues and things. I think everybody's just trying to better in those spaces. But
Is it possible there might have been an electric car stored in the rocket?
yeah, that caused the ignition. But it's Elon's last comment. Their rockets are hard. I think that undersells it. But the why NASA takes so long, why all of these things are just so slow and developing. And I mean, we see it in the nuclear space. It's because of safety, and it should
Right.
be. Safety should always be paramount in these. But my gosh, is it just slow and churn and add new things? It's those things take a long, long time.
It's funny. I see things all the time. Like, could somebody who's a good high school basketball player be better than like the worst player in the NBA? And it's like, well, probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. They're and it's just like this, building rockets, all these things. People can't appreciate how experienced some of these engineers are and how far back their history goes in some of these things.
Yeah.
And it's just this wasn't willy-nilly. It wasn't like, Jeff was out there, him and his girlfriend, and they put this rocket up, just wanted to see what would happen. He has some top tier engineers out there working on this, and yet this still can happen.
It still happens.
Yeah.
Same with Musk. I mean, this is not a flight of fancy for him. Like, I'm going to go buy Twitter because I'm tired of getting dumped. That's been his thing since he was a kid. Like, it's all been building towards rockets. Like, that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. Well, look at Werner von Braun's trajectory. Okay, he needed somebody to support his rockets. Well, he had Hitler.
He had Hitler.
And then he got captured by the Americans. So then he had the USA. And
I maybe shouldn't. I shouldn't laugh about it, but it's like, oh, we're going to overlook a whole lot of stuff if you go build rockets for us. We're going to forget. We're going to erase a whole bunch of things.
Yeah. I remember when they were tearing down all those Confederate statues. It was like, oh man, I hope they don't hear about the Werner von Braun space.
I hope they don't know where he's from. Who his previous employer was. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you want to find some people who literally were actual Nazis. There's like 4,000 of them in Huntsville,
Yeah.
and all their descendants.
Why we won the space race? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it gets kind of funny. What I'm just saying, it's with Musk, wanting to build rockets, it's just crazy that he's gotten to be, in the financial position to do it, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all been leading up to. I want to make rockets. Like it's all his. Like I said, I'm not an Elon Musk fan, but if somebody's going to give the industry a kick in the butt to actually get a base on the moon, to actually try to land somebody on Mars, I hate to say it, but it's him. I mean, he's the one who's actually going to execute. It's not. Is it going to happen in his time frame? Absolutely not. But is it going to happen at some point? I hope so. I hope it gets there.
Yeah. So, speaking of rocket ships, we're going to move on to the new Porsche Cayenne EVs. Let's see here. We'll show some pictures of some rocket ships. So, they have a base model. Now, these are all electric Porsche Cayennes. And the base model does 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. That is fast for an SUV.
Yeah.
The mid-tier S model does it in 2.5 seconds. And then the top model, which they didn't give a 0 to 60 time on it, has 1,139 horsepower. So we're going to assume it's under 2 seconds. I don't even know what kind of tires you'd have to be running to make that actually happen. But it is crazy to think about.
Well, I'm trying to think of I mean, that's like when you see a performance motorcycle going buzzing by you on the interstate, and it's what the heck, was that like? But to see an SUV do that, geez Louise.
Yeah, let me see. The base model is 435 horsepower and 615 pounds of torque.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy.
The S, which is the middle model that does 0 to 60 in 2.5, has 657 horsepower, which is basically the same as the Lamborghini Urus.
Yeah.
And then the top model is called the Turbo, with 1,100 foot-pounds of torque and 1,139 horsepower. I mean, that's just wow. I mean, I just can't imagine. I mean, that truly is.
It's one of the first thing I think of, man, is like, well, why? But then I know the answer right away. It's like, because that's kind of awesome, because you can. That's amazing.
Nobody over 5'10" can ride in the rear. That's important to know for somebody like me.
That's oddly specific, but
now the turbo model says that it won't let you go above 170 miles per hour, which that's good for school zones, right?
That's good. Yeah, it's what it's like in Beverly Hills, where they have all their speed bumps for about 2 inches because it's to get all the low profile ones. This is good. We're going to limit it to 170.
The middle model only goes to 159. So the turbo model is only 11 miles per hour faster. The truth is, though, with an EV, your acceleration is really fast from 0 to 100. Once you get up higher, not having
it's the weight
in the one pedal mode.
Yeah,
it's not really the same, but it's just kind of crazy. The turbo is going to be about $200,000, though. The middle tier, the S, is about 116.
I thought you were going to say about double that for that turbo tier. I thought that was
be like 400.
Yeah, like true. I mean, with those
Lamborghini range,
we're selling performance with this one.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, 200's a lot for a Porsche, but still, that's interesting kind of see. Oh, and they have an NACS port on one side and a J1772 port on the other. make it easier to fast charge on the go or charge at home.
Wonder if you use both at the same time.
I
If
don't
you
know. I
found
was thinking the
somewhere.
same thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be about time too. I mean, we've talked about that before, how it's like,
Yeah.
you know, especially if you had big trucks, it would make a lot of sense. to
Makes
be
so
charging
much
on both
sense.
sides of the truck the same way they buy gas. Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. Oh, the base price on the turbo is 170. So apparently with options, it's 200. I mean, what options does the
Base,
170
yeah.
not have?
I
Floor
don't know.
mats,
Yeah, they're gonna charge you for
the rear cargo net.
Yeah, the cargo net, a roadside emergency kit. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like, what the heck? On sale summer of 26. So run out to your Porsche dealer and get one as soon as you quick. All right. So now we're going to run a little Nissan Leaf commercial here. So there's been some really disappointing news. And Bill and I talked about this a little bit the other day, but Ferrari released the new Luce electric vehicle. And it's just sort of disappointing. And people were quick to point out that Nissan recently released the new Leaf in basically the same color. And so here's the Nissan Leaf for about $32,000 versus the 300 something $1,000 Ferrari Luce. Now here's a picture of the I don't know if that's a white or so. It's better looking there.
Now from that angle and that color, that looks a heck of a lot better than that other picture.
Yeah, and a picture with Pope Leo. But they didn't give any comment on how Pope Leo felt about the car. So he's an American, so who knows? But just this color is just disappointing. It doesn't really look like a Ferrari. So I don't really know what they're thinking. I mean, it's a 4-door. I mean, they recently released that Puro Sangue, that, you know, the pure blood, that is basically a crossover, and this is kind of similar to that, but maybe if they did it in, you know, traditional Ferrari red and black or whatever, it would have looked better. But releasing it in, you know, the initial pictures, their stock dropped 8% over this. They got so much criticism. Oh wait, it's a 550,000 euro. That's like $650,000 versus the $32,000 Nissan Leaf. Now, both have 4 doors. They both have 4 wheels. They both have a similar paint job. They both will get you from point A to point B.
Now let's go see if we can find like a BYD Dolphin in that same color.
Same color.
The $10,000 option.
Yeah, I'm sort of at a loss here. It is just kind of wild to.
It has the vibe of those. In my mind, the BMW or the like i3 or i9, the big kind of Tylenol and weird pan, and we've been talking about this for 2 years, but it's just, don't try to make it look like a space car. Don't make it look like a Jetsons car. Just make it look like one of your cars that happens to be electric. Like, gosh, don't outthink yourselves.
If Tesla's first car they had released had been the Model X or the Model Y, I think the company would have flopped.
Yeah.
Okay. The Model S, which they've now discontinued, looks really cool, right? It's
beautiful
looking,
beautiful car. Yeah.
You know it's a Tesla, but it's a beautiful car, right? They did a fantastic job on that car.
Yep.
Okay. And Tesla made EVs cool. Okay. The Model 3 is a good looking car. Okay. The Model X and the Model Y and the Cybertruck, not so much. Okay.
The Model Y, though, I'm giving it a break because it is the ultimate practicality car. I mean, it's practical is what it is, and that's why it's the best selling car in the world, or had been for so many.
The 26 model, the refresh, definitely looks much better.
Does it look better? Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely looks much better than it did. But I'm just saying, you know, one of my big complaints about EVs all along, it's like, oh, well, we're going to put people in these. How can we make them look
dorky, right? I don't know.
like they have bad taste.
Yeah.
And they've done that. The American car makers definitely did that initially. All,
Mhm.
all the EVs were just atrocious. And,
Yeah.
and like Musk, all he did was make a decent looking EV.
Hmm. That,
Well, with more range.
yeah, range, lithium ion batteries. I mean, revolutionized, the processing construction of them. I mean, it's been interesting, but yeah, I just wish just make it look like a car.
Yeah. But,
Just make it look
I
like.
was telling Mike, I was in a warehouse in Scottsdale where a used car dealer that sells exotic cars had a Ferrari with a level 2 charger plugged into it. And I was kind of confused because wasn't really aware, but it was some type of plug-in hybrid that basically it uses the electric motor for rapid acceleration, but it probably could still go 20 miles on that battery. But for speed, and just like, well, why couldn't that just be an all electric car? You know,
Yeah.
but you know, why couldn't they have just made it look like another, regular two-seater Ferrari and gone with that, right? That would
Happens
be
to be
more
electric.
what I
Yeah.
expect and what they tried to do here was they tried to make a practical Ferrari. And that's not
For $600,000.
right. You have the practical Nissan Leaf right above it, right? Um, it just looks too much like that Leaf. So
It's hard to get. That one stuck out to me over the past week when it came out. I was like, ooh, I don't think I like. I think I agree with folks. I don't think I like that look.
no, I mean it's to me it's hard to justify $600,000.
But I'll tell you, I see a lot more Rivians on the road anymore. That the look of that's growing on me. I always liked it, but it's unique. They've got interesting colors
Mhm.
that they're and not that Easter egg blue interesting. Like just a little bit different than everybody else, a
The
little bit different
forest
curves and
green.
shapes, and it's just man, I keep seeing them and like that is a sharp looking car.
Yeah, there's no question. No question. All right. Scientists drop their worst case climate scenario. EVs, solar, and wind are making a real impact. Scientists officially dropped what's called RCP 8.5 worst case climate scenario because global action has
That
slowed
sounds
emissions growth.
sounds terrible. RCP.
Yeah, it's RCP
Oh man.
8.5.
Yeah, you thought 8.4 was bad. You should
Yeah.
see the 8.5.
It's funny. I saw some criticism. So recently, Claude Opus 4.6 was replaced by 4.7. They just came out with 4.8. People are saying Claude missed the chance to just call it Claude 5.
5. Yeah.
It's like, why is it 4.8?
Why is 4.8? Yeah.
Yeah. But, anyways, yeah, here we have worst case climate scenario 8.5. It has been avoided because solar, wind, EVs, and batteries have made the most extreme climate futures no longer plausible. Current trajectory approximately 2.6 degrees Celsius warming by 2100. Geez, that's a lot.
That's a lot. That isn't like
That's about what, about
1.3
4?
bad
Or
one.
about 4 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Down from 4 to 5 degrees Celsius in worst case. Critics like Trump claim this shows failed science, but researchers say it demonstrates real progress is working. The key takeaway is clean technology adoption is actually changing Earth's climate trajectory. You know, I've always been a bit of a climate skeptic, and part of it is just because I'm really big on history. Okay, and when we go back to the Vikings, one of the reasons their North American settlement didn't work was because of global cooling. And the U.S. the world, and nobody cares about the rest of the world, only the U.S., right? The Vikings didn't come to the U.S., they came to Canada, right? But anyways, there's been a global cooling period since around the late, before 1100,
Mhm.
in the late 1000s. And we're still living in that time period of this global cooling. And so we still haven't reached the temperatures that existed in the 900s. All right. And so they didn't have it then because of humans. Well, probably. Probably not, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there were too many humans doing cow farts. I don't know, but you never know. So I'm always kind of skeptical about some of that. But there's so many things that, on the flip side, when you look at clean air, just pollution in general, it's like there's no question that coal kills people.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no
Yeah.
question that you know. Uh, fossil fuel fumes kill people, and there's certainly no harm being caused by solar panels or wind.
Mhm.
And it just kills me because so much of what you and I talk about is lambasted simply because and Obama liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't feel that's a good reason to go crapping on clean energy initiatives or whatever. When people talk about the green scam, my own opinion is, everybody's like looking at Solyndra. Solyndra was,
It was a
just
boondoggle, and it was it was not good. Not a good thing. Bad optics. All of that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and I mean it was Harry Reid's son's company.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it just wasn't a good look. I get that, but that's not enough to judge the rest of the industry. And we look at, what China is doing. They were doing, what was it, a gigawatt hour of solar a day. Now they're doing two after Strait of Hormuz
Yeah.
thing. And it's
It's
wild to see that
I
change.
agree with you. On the first part, it's one. I'm a data guy and looking at it and like, oh boy, these are some really nasty trends. But I'm also a modeler. I model complex energy systems. I model that, and um, it's hard to model things and putting all that information in there. And one thing I've always wondered about is what are some of those extra effects from climate change? If it is getting warmer, if we do have more carbon dioxide, everything. I mean, doesn't that spur plant growth? So it's like is
And
how are we? There's going to
increased
be
oxygen.
where are we going to oscillate out to from these? And where I'm going is like it's so hard to model all of that and figure it out. Like the basic model, is it getting hotter? Yeah, you bet it is. That's where we're sitting. Is that detrimental? Is that going to melt things? Yeah, you bet. Let's take out some insurance. Let's plan ahead, and regardless of where it's coming from, it's changing.
Right.
And if is it a natural cycle? Maybe. Is it are we contributing to it? I mean, probably, at least some degree. Like, well, let's see what we can do. And
Well, we all agree it's the contribution isn't zero.
yeah,
Okay. We know it's not zero, but how much does it move the needle?
yeah,
Right? What's acceptable? It's just like I'm doing some lobbying for a law firm, and it's on PFAS in the water. And there's a claim out there where cities can get money if they have over 2 parts per trillion of PFAS, but the EPA says that 4 is acceptable.
is
And so a lot of cities
acceptable.
try to say that since they're below 4, they have no PFAS. Okay, there's no PFAS from, but they're actually eligible to get money for the city
Money at 2. Yeah.
at 2. Yeah. And 3M and DuPont got sued for this. They have the money in escrow. And if the cities don't file, they lose their right to claim the
They
money
lose the claim,
later
the
on.
ability to claim.
Yeah. But it's just, it's one of those things. It's like it's not zero,
Yeah.
but it's interesting. Then the EPA only just changed the standard. The standard was 2 about 2 years up until about a year or two ago, and they changed it to 4 to make it seem.
Yeah,
like
I look at a lot of that, and it stinks because there's so many other benefits to this energy path and EVs and standardizing and efficiencies and energy independence and lower costs. And we see that where we're at. I mean, we're a huge coal producer just to the west of here. We're a net zero coal producer. Think of how much of that commodity we import into our state from another state, and it's a net import. Like it's not to get into tariffs and imports and exports and things, but gosh, we can grow that energy right here domestically and locally, with a couple of solar panels and things like that. Why wouldn't we want to keep that tax base and everything like that within our state? I don't know.
How short are we currently on the electrical needs of the AI companies here in the Omaha, just in the Omaha market? Aren't we short like 600 megawatts?
Oh, it's huge. It's a giant backlog of everybody, and it'll be. People probably don't follow Nebraska very closely in a lot of this, but we were going to have one of the largest data centers here in rural Nebraska looking to locate. And then people kind of got wind of that. It was going to be bring your own generation, put it all up, but there's a whole lot of stonewalling happening across the state of counties putting up moratoriums on those and all of that. So it's wild out there. It is wild, but there's not a lot of capacity around here. That's for sure.
No, no, it's interesting to see. Like we've talked about transmission issues and then the lack of just power in general.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a nuclear friendly state, and yet we have one nuclear power plant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, all right, moving on. Chinese EVs are starting to arrive in Canada, but only a trickle. 18 Geely-made Lotus Eletre SUVs and 150 Chery vehicles. New Canada-China trade deal reduced tariffs to 6% with annual quota system. BYD has not yet delivered consumer vehicles despite being the world's largest EV maker. Hundreds of Canadian dealers want Chinese brands, but certification and testing is delaying rollout. It's a cautious entry, not market disruption yet. We're going to see it, though.
We're going to see it. And we've talked about that forever, right? Of one of the limitations of those Chinese-made EVs at those price points, are they going to meet North American safety standards and different standards associated with vehicles? So that'll be interesting to see if they can pass, and if they do, and when at those price points. Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Let's see. Rivian Robotaxi is expected to add an $18 billion valuation, meaning a bigger upside than what Tesla has from Robotaxi.
Is Rivian the one that just walked away from Robotaxi? Like, didn't they? I thought somebody just Tesla basically said, we're going to open source a whole bunch of our stuff. Anybody that wants to use it.
From full self-driving.
Yeah. Oh, full self. Yeah.
Yeah. So a whole bunch of companies said they don't want Musk's tech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting.
Rivian was one of them, but I don't remember.
I had a rental car a couple of weeks ago with Ford Blue Cruise on it, and it's hands-free for the interstate. And I never was comfortable with that but I've been very comfortable with, driving Teslas, doing the same thing, being hands-free. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't as comfortable with the Ford.
Okay.
I think because I just didn't trust the Ford as much.
I don't think that's anything to sneeze at. You know what I mean? Because it's if you're just sitting there, antsy the whole time and ready to jump it, that's a worse experience than just driving.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it'll make a noise. The Ford one will make a noise and start going, grab the wheel. Take over. Yeah,
grab it.
It's pretty frequent, and then it's like, okay, let go. We got it.
I got this now.
It's okay, Dad. Let go. Rivian's $18 billion valuation gives it more upside potential than Tesla's $1.3 trillion valuation. I'm not sure how this is being factored. Uber invested up to $1.25 billion in Rivian for up to 50,000 R2 SUVs for the Robotaxi fleet. The R2 SUV, which should be under 50 grand, production scaling this year, packed with an autonomous tech. Tesla is advantage. Tesla already has pilot Robotaxis in 3 cities. Musk says widespread in the U.S. by end of 26. Rivian's advantage is its lower valuation, Uber partnership, and better upside potential for investors. Well, we usually have the ticker going, but our producer is on a vacation right now.
Is there any whispers of Amazon in on that Robotaxi deal with Rivian? Like, are
Oh,
they
yeah.
kind of hiding in the wings and funding this and ready to jump out on it at some point?
I haven't heard of anything. Like, you mean like for the vans?
Well, because I mean, they provide the Amazon vans, which is why
Mhm.
I've learned this from you of like, pay attention to Rivian. They've got a pretty good supply chain going. I mean, they've got a good deal, but that's just what I wonder of. That's one company outside from the electric delivery vans you don't hear a whole heck of a lot about investing in EV stuff, compared to, like, even Apple. Had talked about developing cars, and it's been Microsoft is looking at some of these spaces, and it's just Amazon doesn't come up a lot.
So, in the history of auto manufacturing in the United States, there's been literally hundreds of car manufacturers. And you really, up until the last 12 years or so, or 15 years, it was just the three, right? It was GM, Ford, and Chrysler. And their brands underneath, those brands were all prior independent car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're conglomerates. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But there's been all of this consolidation in the space. Not, I really assume we'd see more consolidation in the EV space.
Hmm.
Or, it always made sense to me for like Ford to buy up Rivian
Yeah.
or somebody like that. And that's never occurred. But that being said, I'd kind of hoped that Chevy would have bought a couple of the companies that went under, like Canoe,
Yeah.
and
Rebranded them.
yeah, I think it would have been good, and it might have done something for the company having that as something to release. But I'm just saying we haven't seen this, but we've had Tesla be the first successful car manufacturer in like 100 years to be able to stick it out on their own. And then you have Rivian now, and Rivian's come into the picture, and they have their deals with Amazon. I mean, yeah, with Amazon, with Volkswagen, and now with Uber, and they're really tightly knit in some of these things, where they're going. And you look at Lucid being owned by the Saudis, but now they've got manufacturing going on in the Arabian Kingdom, and they're entering other spaces. That they've also got their own Robotaxi deals going on. EVs have a long ways to go. Batteries need to recharge in 15 minutes. EVs need batteries that don't burn and explode. Well, for starters, they don't have batteries that explode. They've never had that, but people say that they don't. But we were talking on earlier in the week about in China now the battle is between all the car companies that are making super fast charging. There's a whole bunch of them now that have got charging down to under 10 minutes.
That's wild.
I was here in the States, and they're doing some fantastic things in the charging space, and it'll be a couple extra years before it starts showing up in the U.S. I drive an Audi e-tron. Well,
Yeah,
not the only Audi e-tron driver.
there you
But
go.
anyways, but anyways, it's interesting just to see. So I really hope to see, these three US EV companies, do well. I have no doubt Tesla is going to.
I think they're going to be all right.
Ever.
I think they're going to be all right, and that's
They're-
I think Rivian's going to be all right, and that's I'll be curious to see if at some point Amazon's been pulling some strings here for a while, and they're interested in jumping into one of these markets.
I think at some point Lucid probably goes private. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're going to stay owned by the Saudi royal
They're going to
family.
stay, part of the sovereign wealth fund. Yeah.
Yeah. And but that being said, they're not going away.
No.
Right. So, and they've got some great products. I mean, we've had people talk about they've test driven the Gravity, and they're like, for $50,000-$60,000, you're getting a vehicle about as nice as a Lamborghini Urus and just as fast.
Yeah. That's wild. That's incredible.
Yeah. So much better comparison than the Nissan Leaf to that.
The Nissan Leaf.
Yeah. We were talking about earlier. All right. Here's a big surprise, Mike. A company called SSE, a big UK energy giant, has paused all standalone hydrogen production projects. 40 megawatts of green hydrogen projects shelved indefinitely. blamed on a UK government policy vacuum and lack of long-term support framework. Reflects broader hydrogen industry struggles versus battery electric alternatives. This is a major setback for the hydrogen economy. Batteries are winning the clean energy race. Well,
Yeah.
it's, we just don't see how you make the economics of hydrogen. There's all these great ideas with hydrogen. It's just the economics never work.
It's just, yeah. I mean, technically, does this work? Is it a good solution? Yeah, you bet. I like it. It's interesting. It addresses a lot of issues with EVs, but there's no supply chain. And setting up a supply chain from that and all these extraction points, you're building it from the ground up. And it's just different. It's very different.
A couple of years ago, I was hopeful Nikola was still doing some things,
Mhm.
to a certain extent, they needed to be shot and killed. Okay, to another extent, they were still out there trying to get something done. They were working a deal with Walmart. And I'm just like, wow, if they had hydrogen at all the Murphy gas stations across the country that are owned by Walmart, you'd have a hydrogen infrastructure.
Yeah, a network. Yeah.
And then maybe hydrogen could work. But the challenge is transporting hydrogen is just so damn difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just expensive and hard to bring it to market. If you can make hydrogen for free and you can fill up where it's manufactured at the source, the economics work. But in all other scenarios, they do not work.
It just doesn't pan out. It just doesn't pan out.
If you have to load it up in a truck and ship it somewhere, it doesn't work.
Yeah. And it's like everything EV. I mean, we always focus, not always, but we tend to focus on commercial vehicles and passenger vehicles, light commercial and passenger vehicles. There's all kinds of applications for hydrogen. I mean, these things are parallel. You can look at different options. You can look at ports. You can look at remote locations, and it's not as good of an option. It's just not as economically viable an option as batteries and electricity right now, which is just not there.
Yeah, I like all the great ideas I see with hydrogen, and
yes, that's where we're both at on that. It's like, it's not a bad thing. It's not a terrible idea. We're not against it. It just don't work. Sorry.
Yeah, I've seen, a few scenarios where hydrogen is effective, and it's incredibly specific,
Yeah.
Anyways, Mike, that's all we got time for today. Folks, want to thank everybody for watching the show today, and I'll be back with Bill next probably Tuesday, and I'll be back with Mike next Friday. Otherwise, folks, everybody have a great weekend, and thanks for watching.